what we would call somewhat of a time travel. We'll start off in the year 1812, work our way through the Civil War, Buffalo Soldier era, World War I, and we'll finish on through there. So, if you guys will follow me.
Before we go, tell us about what you got on and the regalia that you rock.
So, what I have on is a uniform from the War of 1812. That's immediately after the Revolutionary War. So what I have on is, the overcoat is called a frock. So this would be something that you would see majority of the soldiers in, especially during the cold weather seasons. But you have two types, one for cold weather, one for like spring like season. You would find African Americans wearing this if they were well-to-do or if they found a dead soldier or officer on the ground. You know, because we got the lowest of the low when it came to the uniforms. So if I found an officer dead on the ground, you best believe I'm grabbing his wares, from his top coat to his shoes. You know what I mean? At times we didn't have shoes. So this right here is a frock. This horn-like instrument that I have here is what we call a powder horn. Powder horn is what you would use to load the powder inside of your musket. The powder horn would be an instrument that you would use to load up your musket. Okay, your musket is your instrument of defense that you would use to shoot with. It's your gun, pretty much. So I would use this to load my musket. This right here. I was about to call this a saber. This
bayonet?
Yep, your bayonet. You find this attached to the musket. Yep.
The front of the musket.
When all your firepower is gone, you attach this bad boy to your musket, and you would charge. You know, or you can use it handheld. You know.
What else is that round thing you got there?
This right here. Nowadays it would be called a water bottle.
What's
But,
your bottle? Canteen?
This is your canteen. So this is where you would have your H2O, you would have your demon rum, you know what I mean?
Your grog.
Yeah, whatever you would choose to
Some
drink.
Henny.
Definitely. Numb juice.
Top hats for the special effects. Again, you would find headgear of all sorts during this time period.
Top hats, wave caps.
You know, there you go. You know, they did have stocking caps and wave caps back then. Actually, they weren't called wave caps, but they did use scarves that you would find soldiers with scarves tied behind their head and neck.
Could I use the balls on this?
Along with their top hats.
You would have to just hit the pause was the play.
Hit that.
So if you shut it off, it'll stop. But I can always combine it at the end.
All right, well, let's go inside and see what else. And introduce us to any of the guys there, and they can tell their story.
You got it.
Thank
got
you.
it.
All right, so where we at right now?
We are in the old barracks.
All right. So
Inside
we're in
the old
the
barracks.
sleeping
These are one of the
quarters.
sleeping quarters, yeah. These bed units were 3-person beds. There was 3 persons to a bed, head to foot. So this right here would six soldiers.
Oh, okay.
6 soldiers. So 18 soldiers to a room.
So I'm having flashbacks now because, as you know,
Growing up,
you know, I had many a feet in the face.
Oh, so when you said 3 to a bed, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
right.
It's
I
like
thought
3
you
on
meant-
that.
Yeah,
3
on
up
this,
here.
3 here, 3 here, 3 here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's 6. Second is 6 to the whole bunk.
Yes,
Yeah.
6 to the bunk. Yep.
And they stored their weapons, their muskets here.
That's where we store the muskets at. Hang uniforms here. You know, how they would hang their uniforms is most interesting. Like you would hang your uniform in the order that you would put it on in. You know what I'm saying? So fire were to break out and you had
You know exactly what
Yeah.
where to put your stuff.
grab your hat, your coat, your pants would be up underneath, and then any of the other materials that you would have to go on, such as your canteen, maybe your here I'm about to call it a saber again, your bayonet. You might have a haversack. A haversack is a bag. It looks like a pocketbook. Many of soldiers have bludgeoned to death many of civilian for calling their haversack a purse. Yes, that would be this. No, this isn't your haversack. This would be your cartridge pouch. So as you can see, that there are rounds and this would be filled with the black powder that you would just tear off, empty into the tip of your open it, tear it off. Powder that's in it, you would empty it into the tip. You take this unit here, flip it upside down, stuff it,
And stuff it down.
make sure everything is down in there. Now,
And then you load your.
projectile. You would throw your projectile in there. Depending on what caliber of barrel, denotes what caliber of projectile you would toss in there.
Right. Because certain
Yeah.
stuff wouldn't fit.
Exactly.
Because you need that tight fit to have the explosion.
Exactly. These muskets are some of the worst in shot accuracy. You'll find some of them that are more accurate. What is the
Sniper.
Stefani? When we get to the weapons expert, we'll find out the proper name for it. But most of these barrels were straight barrels, so they were very inaccurate. You know, you wouldn't necessarily get shots off, especially during this time period where before the battle strategy changed. It was, you know, you take 10 paces, we back up, we line up, we're standing in front of each other, bang, 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 bang. You know, at the end of when the smoke clears, whoever had the most soldiers standing, that denotes the winner of the battle or the war.
So it's a lot, it's a total different ball game than, you know.
Yeah,
Are they one shot?
these are definitely one shots.
So when one regiment does the shooting,
Yeah,
they
you'll
go
have-
back to reload while the second troop comes up, and
Exactly.
they just,
Or it'll probably be a certain formation where you'll have one behind the other. You'll have one down on their knee, you know, and they would take
Right.
the shot.
And he was
Okay.
standing up.
So once they take the shot, they will recover to the rear of the lineup, and those who are immediately behind will next take their shot. While they're taking their shot, the other
They're loading up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
scary enough, it sounds like civilized warfare compared to.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, but that's why they shot in volleys, because of the inaccuracy of the muskets.
Exactly.
So they shot in volleys, so a column of bullets would come out and hit whomever because of the inaccuracy of those.
And they would stand there to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
one way in, that was straight.
This gentleman right here. Hey, you with the glasses. As you can see, his outfit. We'll join his room in a second. But which one during the 1812 time period was the most accurate as far as rifles?
Rifles were definitely the ones with the octagonal barrels. The ones you carry.
Yeah. What was the name?
That's a Cervici, I think. It's an Italian-made 45 caliber. Most of those guys would go out in the beginning of the battle. They don't stay in formation, what you were talking about. The regular soldiers did, but these riflemen would spread out in the field strategically. Try to pick some of the main guys off. The guys on the cannon, the guys on the horses. Supposedly you weren't allowed to shoot officers back then.
Yeah.
But if, you know, after watching the Native Americans, you know,
It was a badge of honor.
we decided here to pick up that kind of guerrilla warfare. You know, they had rules, but you know, of course, they made the rules to favor themselves.
Yeah,
But when you're fighting for your home and everything, you know, you're not going to follow those rules. And that's why we won the Revolutionary War, because of the guerrilla warfare. Started ambushing and stuff like that.
Stuff that the British military didn't even.
They weren't trained. They panicked. You know, they didn't know what to do.
Sir, are you infantry or?
Right now, yeah, I would be considered
Yeah, infantry militia.
Okay.
Now this room here is from French Indian War. You can see the British uniform. It's originally occupied by the British. They had 18 people slept in this room.
What was the mattresses stuff with?
It was stuffed with whatever they had, grass, leaves, anything they could. They slept 2 or 3 to the bunks, head to toe. Average temperature was 53 degrees in here. They had to put the fireplaces out by 9 o'clock. The design of this building is sensational. I forget the guy who designed, two black men who designed this barrack and the smoke system, which is really good.
And you don't hear about this.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, the living conditions weren't that great because they didn't have toilets or anything. They used chamber pots. You might have one in here.
A lot of times, after battles where you would feel the most effect, because you would get charged for killing a white man. That was just the nature of what was going on at that time period. You know, you may have fought for the country, you may have fought for what you thought was for your freedom, but if you didn't have an exit plan or an exit strategy of some sort, and you were found out that you were in the war, then in most cases you would have got charged, hanged, and the charge would be killing a white man.
Even though you were
Even though
fighting for your country.
even though
Fight for their
Most of the
country,
guys in here, there
technically.
were 8 black soldiers stationed here in the French Indian War, fighting for the British. A lot of people don't know, during the Revolutionary War, there were 12,000 blacks in the British Army, only 5,000 in the Continental Army, because Lord Dunsmore promised immediate freedom upon signing. And you got full pay and pension, you got your weapon, you got 15 acres of land, 30 pieces of silver, and provisions to start with. So basically, you're going to go from being a slave to being rich.
That's right.
It was hard for Washington to compete with that. He couldn't even pay the soldiers he had. So if they were fortunate enough to be able to read the posters, they would sign up.
Was that agreement equal for white
Yeah,
colonists
it's the
as
same
well?
thing. Those guys from England were poor farmers too. They were coming over here with the hopes of the same
But
thing.
they treated them equally in terms of
Yes,
sign up?
yeah,
Or at least
they
more
had
so.
So-
better in the Navy than in the Army.
So when the 1781 British leave, those black men who served with the British Army, they go with them.
No.
That was my next question.
A lot of them wanted to go back to Africa. So you gotta understand, these British when they came over here, they were $30 million in debt after the French Indian War, which is nothing nowadays, but an astronomical amount of money. So they started looking over here to get money, okay? And that's what kicked off the revolution. Now, when it was time to go, they didn't have time to get the treasures. They left a lot of them. So they did whatever. They abandoned their men here, and they put some of these guys on the boat. They sailed out, made a right turn, took them back down to the Caribbean, and sold them back into
Oh,
slavery.
wow.
Yeah, some of them, the ones who went north to Nova Scotia and west to Ohio, did better. You know, while they were in Nova Scotia or something, most of those guys were ex-British soldiers or escaped slaves. But while they were up there, they invented a sport. Anybody know what it was?
Lacrosse?
hockey.
I was
People
kidding.
don't know that. That's where hockey was invented. There's 2 museums up there, and there's a couple specials on PBS about it. It's called Black Ice.
Nice. It's a book.
Yeah,
actually,
they were invented by,
Same title.
and they had nothing to do in the winter. But yeah, some of the ones in this area, most of their owners were Quakers, and they didn't believe in corporal punishment. So they ran because they were still loyalists. They ran north. They dropped the other soldiers off to the Bainbridge House in Princeton. And then from there, a lot of them were put in the Army. They took the women and children, put the men in the Army. So that's how a lot of them got into the Army.
So the African American men who were promised, who had much better promises, so a lot of them were not able to really recoup on that
No.
promise.
Yeah.
They basically were used.
Well, they did the same thing to their own British soldiers
Yeah.
too. They were left
Okay.
here. Yeah. So and then they had resentment, so they wouldn't sell farming tools to the black soldiers or anything. They ended up getting a lot of it from Native Americans, and that's what got us through. Because instead of massacring them, we learned to live with them. We taught them how to better farming techniques, and they
So after the war, they didn't get a chance to enjoy the spoils of war. They had to pretty
actually
much
the
bail.
ones in Nova Scotia, most of the African Americans up there now are very well off.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing going on up there. They did very well for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that.
So the brothers invented black ice.
Black ice,
And
yeah.
we're the least represented, even to this day. That's one of the few sports where we are the least represented. Incredible.
I don't like the cold, I don't like the ice.
And it don't pay a lot of money either.
Sir, before
Hockey
I
doesn't pay
forget,
a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
what is your name?
My name is William.
That was an excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've got the title. I will research that book.
You got it. You
Will
got
gets
it.
a little nervous.
The racism of larger society. Because the ship, you can't segregate on a ship. Also, you have to work together, cooperate. Everybody has to know their job. And do their job. You can't, nonsense can't be tolerated. Because if somebody doesn't do their job, if I do the wrong thing, we all go down. And believe me, it's cold. Okay? We all go down. A ship, you kind of have your own, you're like in your own little world. You know? You think differently. You speak differently. You get a certain language. You know, you dress differently. And you also find common cause in certain challenges as a worker, as a laborer in that field. And depending on each other, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
survival.
you don't always like your family, but
Sure.
you know,
Survival.
but they're family. You know, you gotta deal with it, right? Now, if you don't deal with it, then you have a problem because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, well, there's something for you. You ever hear the expression, letting the cat out the bag? You know what the cat is? It's a whip. It's called the cat of nine tails. Okay? And that'll straighten you up. Okay? Okay? If Mac here, he's the head foreman Jack, a foremast Jack. Foremast, that's the first mast on the ship. That's the first mast, you know, and you're not gonna have a problem with Mac. You're gonna have a problem going to be with the mate or the captain because you're not doing your job. And if you're not doing your job and you make my boat run aground, you got to pay.
Being it's the maritime stuff, I see some of these tools over here. Are they dealing with like chips and I think I see one that's a sextant.
Yeah. Basically, I'm a hands-on sailor. I crew on the Mirwall. It's a schooner, kind of like this type of ship.
I'm sorry, the mirror wall?
Yeah, the Mirwall, ME. Basically, to learn the hands-on side of the history. So 4 to 8 months out the year, I'm working on a tall ship. Okay, last since 2015 on the Mirwall. And this is kind of to represent the skill sets, various skill sets that mariners could learn. I mean, you're not going to learn everything. You do everything, right? But you have tools for mending sails. Like this needle here, this pump goes through heavy canvas, right? This is a seaming tool I made for putting seams in sails, smoothing out the sails like that. This is this here. Oh, okay. You have caulking. This is like a caulking iron. Okay, and being on a wooden ship with planks, right? You know, it's kind of bad when water comes up between the planks. You got fibers, right? So you got to seal those planks. What you do is you take material, like this is called oakum, natural fiber material, and usually you get the prisoners jail, get somebody in jail to do this, you know, and you roll it till it's real thin, and you take that iron and you hammer it between that a layer of oakum, a layer of cotton, and if you're a well-to-do ship owner, some pitch, tar. Okay,
Right.
and use that to seal seals. We do basically we do that usually every year. This is a reefing tool. That's to tear up the old. Yeah. Okay. Of course, you have to when you're working with canvas, sometimes you have to cut the canvas, that sort of thing. So you got some period scissors, something like that, or can use some more heavy duty scissors to raise sails and move booms and what you call these going across here, yard arms, okay, or booms, or it's what you call a gaff, to maneuver and with the sails, change the sails, right? Like on the ship I work on, by the time you raise all three sails, you've raised over 2,000 pounds of canvas. Okay, now you have to do that just with sheer muscle. You need a lot more. Okay, so that's why in the rigging you have blocks placed with lines run to give you mechanical advantage throughout the ship. So that's these blocks are useful. Of course, you got navigational tools, the sextant, the telescope. It's a bad thing when you don't know where you are.
So more or less for like triangulation of which direction you're going and how far.
Yeah. Okay. Not just because you get lost. Yeah. I mean that's can run out. That could be a bad thing. Run out of water and food. That's been known to happen. Okay. But also because you may need to know that you're on a particular position on your chart, on your map. Okay, it's because if you're not in the right place, you may be going someplace where it's too shallow. Okay, you might be running to a coral reef there. Do that, you're about to have a very bad day.
And there's not enough oakum or pitch to repair that hole.
A very bad day.
Called running around.
What is the very first one that looks like a needle? It looks like a canvas on the top? Yes.
Which one?
The first one the gentleman pointed to. Yes. Right
Oh,
there.
that's a fit.
Okay.
See here. Well, on ships, we're working a lot with we're working a lot with lines, all right? Sometimes the lines can be pretty big and thick, okay? So heavier line, so and run another line through it, that sort of thing. So you can do the same thing with this other tool I have here. It's called a marlin spike. Okay, and this allows you to open up the strands in the line, so I can feed another line through it.
So it's almost like a needle type or awl type of.
Yeah. So that would be, and this here is just like fancy work,
Oh, okay.
For grip.
for grip, or to show off.
Aesthetics.
Like sometimes you look at an item on the ship or like that. And, oh yeah, that's Will's work there. There's Will showing all that. Don't bother that. That's Will's. Okay, yeah. So you have that. So this marlin spike, that's basically what this is. Like then
Now that looks like a compass that we basically use in like school and stuff.
Right.
The one that they need to telescope.
Oh, there's a protractor here.
Yeah, the protractor.
Oh yeah, that's
everything else.
when you have that's if you have a chart and you can
Yeah.
measure distances and that sort of thing on. Also, like I said, sailors work is never done. There's always work to be done. Like today, this is like a sail tie. I'm here. Okay, when we lower the sail and this gaff comes down, as the sail's being lowered, we're making folds in it. And then it gets to the bottom, it's a nice sandwich. Then we take the sail ties, we throw them over and tie them down so the sail doesn't come loose. So that's what we use the sail ties for.
Is that a sail behind you?
Oh, that's canvas material. This is just to show you the type of material that you're working with, right? So canvas.
Oh, so that's what the cell would be made out of?
Yeah. Yeah. So naturally, if I'm working with this sort of thing, I'm gonna need pretty substantial tools to do it. Okay, sailors do a lot of sewing, to repair sails. Not so much making them, but a lot of repair work. I might need a patch it or something like that. So just taking a small needle and trying to push it through, I'm going to have a long day. So instead, I would use. Out here. So I got something to cut it with, to fold the seams. All right. Then this is my ditty bag. Okay. Now I have this, and when I'm sewing a canvas, I mean, the main point is, black sailors are doing all this. Well, all the sailors are doing it.
So it is a leveler.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody's got, sailor, this is the type of work.
Are there, I assume there are ranks in the tasks, so maybe black sailors would have like the lower ranks in the tasks?
No.
Okay.
The ship, workboat ship is strata.
Looking at this newspaper is a source. Rebels routed at Nashville, 13th colored decoyed rebels. So that, and then you have some articles on General Fremont, the Emancipator. This is General Hunter. General Hunter was from Trenton, New Jersey. Him along Fremont are one of the generals that was down south, Union generals. And when they went down there, they had emancipated the slaves. What I mean was, he went and told the slaves, you are free. You want to fight, come join us. And he started training them to become, to fight as soldiers. But at that time period, Abraham Lincoln told them, disband that, stop that. I cannot have that happen. Why did he say that? He said that because we had at the time borderline states such as Maryland, Delaware, West Virginia.
So he did it all for a political reason then.
For political reasons, right. He did not want to lose those borderline states. The borderline states were states that had slaves, but they stayed in the Union. They did not succeed like Virginia and South Carolina and the rest of those states. So he did not want to leave them. Now, here's something that's very, very interesting. The fugitive slave law is still in effect for the United States of America, right? The fugitive slave law states that any slaves that run away, for example, come to Mercer County, come to Trenton, right, a northern city, and the United States Marshal come, he deputizes either one of us to
Bring them back.
bring that slave back, right? So now, the Union generals had the problem. That was their problem. How can we, get these here people to be free? Not all of them. Just, for example, General Hunter and Fremont, one of them. So General Butler, he's stationed down in Virginia, in Henrico County, and the name of the fort escapes me. But there was 3 runaway slaves. They march up to the fort. General Butler lets them in. The very next day, the Confederate officer comes with a white flag. I want my slaves back. And General Butler says, your slaves? Now, before I go any further, General Butler was a lawyer before the Civil War started. So he says, you want your slaves back? Yeah, I want my slaves back. Really? Well, under the Fugitive Slave Law Act, you're supposed to give me my slaves back, right? So the war had started, and most generals was doing it. Union generals was doing it, giving slaves back. Butler says to them, well, let's see, wait a minute. You say that you're with the Confederate States of America. Yes, I am. And that's your country. Yes, it is. And you're fighting against the United States of America. Yes, I am. That's not your country. That's right. Well, you can't have your slaves back.
There you go.
What do you mean I can't? Because you yourself said that your country is the Confederate States of America, and that the United States of America is your enemy, and you're fighting against your enemy. And with that being said, under the terms of war, whatever victor has the possessions of the enemy belongs to the victor. Yeah, but those are slaves. Well, you did say that slaves are property, right? Yes. Well, if slaves are property and it's considered contraband, then you can't have them back. And so he walks away mad. Boom, the light bulb goes off now. All right. The Union generals are like, all right, now I got something to work with. And now here comes emancipation. We've been talking about it, we just didn't know how to do it because we didn't want to lose those borderline states, right? So what Lincoln does, and the cabinet says, let's not push this emancipation yet. Let's win a battle. Because now remember, since the battle started, over here, the East Coast was losing. First Bull Run, Second Bull Run, 7 Days War. I really don't want to say losing. Well, they got pushed back. Some of the Union commanders at that time really wasn't all that good.
Different from the South.
So, well, McClellan, he was like from New Jersey, but he wasn't really all that good. Nevertheless, here's the thing. He says, what we're going to do is wait till we win a battle, and then we'll emancipate. The Battle of Antietam comes. And the Battle of Antietam, what's significant about that battle is that in one day, thousands and thousands of soldiers' lives are lost. It's called the bloodiest day, the bloodiest battle. It was a stalemate, right? But because Robbie Lee, the battle was fought in Maryland, and because Robbie Lee had retreated from Maryland, Lincoln says, this is the opportunity, right, to issue the to talk about it. So from September is when the battle started, till December, to which the emancipation would take effect. That gave time enough for all the citizens of the North to marinate the idea there's going to be emancipation. There were some whites that was not against it. They still held on to the idea that this should be a white man's war. But there was a lot of whites that were saying, "Oh, wait a minute. My son, my husband, my brother are dying. They're losing limbs, right? And these are black people talking about they want to fight. Let them fight." So this was like, again, a marination. And they're looking at this here. Now, December 31st come, the Emancipation Proclamation takes effect. Now, here's the thing, whereas we have to take a look at the words. What's being said? What's being said is that where the Union forces go in, then the blacks would be emancipated. And they have the freedom to join the fight. You hear what I just said? So for the Union forces that's already there,
They don't.
they're not free.
They're not free.
They're
Wow.
not free. Deep, right? Unless, of course, there was.
I just want to say that in Civil War combat and Civil War training, the soldier who has to practice in being trained to fire 3 rounds in a minute under fire, and that's quite a bit of work because you got to reach to the top,
He's for real.
rip it off, put it down.
No,
tight,
not Al.
punch
The
around,
sergeant major
rip
down
it
there.
down, bring
The
it
Marine
up,
guy.
reach it to
That's
the
his
top.
real uniform. 30-something years now. All those hash marks.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, look how shiny it's still, you know. I mean, you never stop being a Marine.
Trenton Barracks. Military discharge of arms. Different ranks, different time periods, from the present to the past. Ending Black History Month. Check that.
Literally.
Recover! Recover! Off!